Hello again, everybody. Great to have you along. We bring you yet another edition of Leadership America, creating champions of change through a culture of civility, through courage, commitment, character, compassion, and conversation, not confrontation, which we've seen far too much of during this pandemic. It's unfortunate, but hopefully some good things on the horizon as we move forward. My name is Scott Murray.
And I'm Angel Carlton, and obviously I am not in the studio today. I'm in Denver, Colorado, moving my son here. And so I'm coming to you virtually, but how about this for awesome technology? I so wish I could be there to meet our special guest in person because she is a true champion, Scott, and I know you know her well, and I am so excited about this interview and learning more.
Well, I tell you what, she is a true champion, and of course you and I talk and address the situation that evolves here in our world, whether you're at home, in communities, in schools, and corporations, whatever it might be. We're looking for champions. We're looking for great leaders every single day. And you are spot on, because our special champion today is a special friend, our good friend, Nancy Lieberman. Hello there, Miss Hall of Famer. How you doing?
Hello. How are you? Hi, Angel.
Hi, Lady Magic.
Lady Magic it is indeed. It is indeed. Well, pandemic, 6 months, no basketball, no idea. I still can picture Mark Cuban when he got word in the stands on his phone that, hey, basketball is done. No more. We're out of here. I mean, has this been crazy or has this been crazy?
It's been something that we've never seen before. Matter of fact, Aaron Hardigan and myself, we had just finished our 30-minute pregame studio show where the Pelicans were playing at Sacramento. And we finished the show. We walk off. This is already after the Oklahoma City Jazz game got canceled. And we thought we were going to get this game in. We were the last game of the night. And we walk through the door, and they say, go back out there. The game is canceled. And we just about-faced. And you'll get information as it comes to you.
What has been the toughest part for you during this?
The toughest part for me is, not being able, my mom's just turned 91, and I was flying March 17th to go to her, to be with her down in Florida. That was the reason I left the NBA in 2017, because I didn't know if I was going to have my mom.
Right.
So I wanted to get down there, and the assisted living facility said, down in Delray Beach, they said, no, you can't come, we're shutting it down. That was in early March. I thought they were joking around. And so that was hard. And then getting my son TJ back in the country, he's been playing professionally in Tel Aviv. Mm-hmm. And I really have to thank our Congressman Van Taylor and Pete Sessions and former Chief David Brown for helping get my son back into the country at that time, because everybody was freaking out over COVID. And they weren't letting people back in. And it took some, strong men like that to take care of American citizens and bring TJ home.
Absolutely. Well, I tell you what, before we get to some of the questions that Angel and I have to share with you, we always try to give a little information about our special guest. And this resume of yours goes from here to Lubbock. It's ridiculous, but it's well-deserved. So let me tell you a little something about our special guest here today, Hall of Famer Nancy Lieberman. She's been a Big Three head coach, NBA coach, WNBA player and coach, general manager, sports broadcaster for ABC, NBC, ESPN, and Fox Sports Southwest, motivational speaker, author, and the list goes on and on and on. In addition, Nancy is a basketball Hall of Famer, Big Three champion, two-time Olympian, three-time All-American, two-time collegiate national champion, and a two-time National Player of the Year when she was at Old Dominion University, where it all started so many wonderful years ago. Now, in addition, many of you might not be aware of the fact she was also given a Governor's Award by the National Academy of Television Arts and Sciences last year. That's right, folks, the Emmy people, honoring her lifetime of achievement, dedication, and impact on her sport, her community, and the field of broadcast journalism. In addition to her career and athletic achievements, she is also dedicated to giving back to the community through her foundation, Nancy Lieberman Charities, which I've had the opportunity on many occasions to help her with her camps and what have you. And every time I go there, I'm amazed at what she continues to do in our communities. Heavily focused on youth and the disadvantaged, believing that all should have the opportunity to attain their own greatness. And Nancy, as Angel and I said at the top, that's what we are all about. That's what this program is all about. Leadership America. people in America that are the great leaders that indeed become the true champions of life. And would you not consider yourself one of those?
Well, let me just say this. To be a leader, you have to give people a reason to follow you. Just because there's an action word on a screen doesn't mean you're a leader because you make more money or you have a title or you have the advantage over me to boss me around or to bully me.
Right.
So leadership is being a servant leader. It's how you handle people. It's building people up and not tearing them down. That doesn't mean you can't have constructive criticism and take people to another level, but it has to be done in the right way. And leadership is part of a culture, of a mindset, of chasing greatness. And that's all I've been taught. As you guys know, I mean, even though I was disadvantaged, I know what it's like to have no food, no heat, no father, no electricity, or be one grandparent away from food stamps, back in the 60s. I'm not a victim. I'm a victor, because your mind can be one of the most powerful things. And, I fell in love with Muhammad Ali, you know that, when I was 10 and met him at 19. And this man changed my life because, he celebrated me. He didn't tolerate me. We knew we were different. I knew he was the black heavyweight champion of the world, and he could rap like nobody else. And he knew I was a little red-headed, Jewish little girl from Far Rockaway, Queens. And he just put his wing over me and encouraged me. And he was there every step of the way until we buried him 4 years ago in June. I'm so grateful for that mentorship and kindness. It can happen. We don't have to look alike to care about each other.
Great mentors. Muhammad Ali, you mentioned him. A couple others that come to mind in your life that really were, we call you Lady Magic.
Certainly Pat Summitt, for her tenacity.
The great coach, right.
Who, the Hall of Fame coach from Tennessee. Warren Buffett has been a great mentor to me since I met him back in the late 80s, early 90s. Taught me a very cool thing. Don't make decisions based on emotion. You'll always make the wrong decision. And there's a lot of emotion out there. And that's why you're seeing people don't know what to do. And we have to work together. We cannot be segregated. I'm telling you right now, we can't have black America and white America. We can't have black supremacy and white supremacy, or white privilege and black privilege. The reality is that if you have been successful, if you have you're a celebrity, you've run a company, you've maybe overcome odds, you're going to have some privilege. It's the way it is in a capitalist society in the world, which has made America so great. But if you do well, you bring people up, lift when you rise, and bring people up around you. And I was championed by the black community. Back in the 60s, 70s, when people were white people, and I love white people, but when they were making fun of me and calling me stupid and dumb and you're never going to make anything of yourself, why are you hanging around with black people? There was no reason to try to tear me down. You should be building me up. You should be a dream giver, not a hope stealer. And it was the black community that really put their arm around me, rallied around me. I had so many Nancy Camp moments. Oh, Nancy can't make the Olympic team in high school. Nancy can't get a scholarship. She's too stupid. Nancy can't do this. Nancy can't play for the Lakers and Pat Riley. Nancy can't. And I got so tired of the Nancy Camp moments. But then I had this amazing group of young men who were telling me what I could be. And that's what we should tell people what they can be, not what they can't be. And we have to do it. We have to do this together. There's a lot that has to change in this country, and we're all open for change. I don't think breaking and stealing is the way to go about it. I don't think. Go back and look at Martin Luther King's quotes. I think he'd not be happy if he saw what was happening in our streets right now.
Totally agree.
We have to do it with great faith and great love and great understanding that we all must change to be better. We should be, I don't want to, I guess, say apathetic, but we should care about other people, and what can we do to change? I'm a minority, okay? Mm-hmm. I mean, I was told in the 80s I couldn't do a men's basketball game because I was a woman. Seriously. It's crazy. It's me, and I can't do a game because I'm a woman, and I kept telling the guy, at the commissioner's office, the microphone and the ball don't care if I'm a girl. Mm-hmm. They actually don't know. Why is it so important to you? Because we were breaking, habit, and change is hard.
Well, broadcasting was the same way. You didn't see a woman on the sidelines doing with
Phyllis
a microphone.
George or
right.
People like that.
Absolutely.
Andrea Kramer, people that changed the industry, and then you found
Absolutely.
They knew what they were talking about.
Yep.
But we have a lot of work to do, and we just can't. We can be silent if we choose to, but we have to have strength in where we go.
Well put. Nancy Lieberman is our guest. Angel, I'm going to kick it over to you and let you start it off here with our questions. She's just kind of brought it up to what our world is all about right now. And here in 2020, we need to change it and change it fast. But why don't you get our questions going and take it away, my friend?
Yeah, I really love what you're saying so far, Nancy, as far as us bridging the gaps between, the white people, the black people. This is to stop. And you have been a pioneer in being a bridge in so many ways throughout your career, and a true role model as well. So being just a leadership development enthusiast, I want to hear more about your role as a role model and how you advise. I was going to ask about young women, but I think young people in general on ways that we can bridge the gap of what's going on today in the world.
Well, some people will disagree with me. Some people say we have to have communication and conversations. I'm actually tired of conversations. I've been on some congressional calls over the last 8 weeks with some, highly esteemed people in the Senate, people who have written bills, op-eds, highly educated. And, when a call starts by saying, well, Tim Scott's going to write this bill and, it's going to go to the Senate, then, there might be some pushback at the congressional level. But then, we got to deal with, we have to deal with a second level prison, federal prison look-in, because we have to deal with that. We have to deal with qualified immunity. We have to deal with the 1033. Do you know what I'm talking about at all? Be honest. Exactly. I'm on this call with 22 people that who they are on some level. And at the end of the conversation, they said, does anybody have anything to say? So I raised my hand. And, I just start. I'm like, hey, I'm not trying to insult anybody or hurt anybody's feelings. And some of you have said you've been doing this for 20, 30, 40 years. I'm like, what the hell have you been doing for the last 30 years? Why didn't anybody do this during the 8 years of the Clinton, his time in office, or the Bush administration, or the 8 years of the Obama administration, right? 8, 16, 20, that's 24 years. What have you been doing? So, we're talking about different things. And I told him, I said, I'm tired of seeing some of my black friends and sisters getting shot, or change has to happen with red line districts, and making sure that more opportunities are open to them as far as, education and quality schools. And, if they're redlined in a district and tax money comes to fund that school, you're not going to get good teachers. You're not going to get good tools. You're not going to get good, after school education. And, a block away is the white community has more wealth, and they pay more taxes, so they get better opportunities for success. Or if you take a middle class, black family who's trying to get a loan for a mortgage or for a business, they were and have been denied, but a lower middle class white family could get that because the implied bias is that white family is going to be able to pay their debt, and that's not fair. Implied bias is what I've lived my whole life. Well, she can't do this. She's a white girl. She's this. No, the guys at Rucker Park didn't go, "Hey, white girl, you can't play here because you're a white girl," because I probably would have said, "Nothing gets by you." That's amazing. A little humor, a little sarcasm, but a lot of truth. I'm a minimalist. But, I can remember being on this call and saying, yeah, there has to be change. Look, 99, in my book, I could be wrong, 99% of the cops out there, police officers, men and women, they do care about the communities that they serve. Do we have to maybe change some of the language in qualified immunity or in military immunity? But you're not going to have a police force and you're not going to have military. This is part of Leadership America. If people are going to go out there to defend you against some people who are criminals, and knowing that they're going to get sued every time they raise a gun or every time it's just not going to happen. And I asked the people on the call, I said, kind of by a show of hands, raise your hand if you have qualified immunity. Oh, you do. That means if you touch me, you grope me, you bully me, you do this to me, you don't get in trouble. Why do you have qualified immunity in your job, which I have the pleasure of paying my taxes for? And I was tongue in cheek and not trying to be adversarial. Maybe I was, but that money goes into a little slush fund in Washington, and if you make a settlement with me, you don't actually have to pay it. We, the taxpayer, we pay for your indiscretions. I said, why is that fair? Why is that okay? And stop talking over the head of people. So, again, I'm a little, tough, on certain things. And I went, well, we're gonna ice it. We're gonna black it. We're gonna push it down, and we're gonna play boxes, elbow nails. We're gonna have a 2-man eye on the weak side. And we're probably going to tilt the court. Do you know anything that I just said? You or Scott? Do you know anything that I said? And you've been around sports your whole life?
Yep.
This is what it's like being on those calls. I said, I'm talking basketball. Rick Carlisle knows what I'm talking about. But stop talking over the head of the people or the viewer. It's not fair. And I said, there's people in the streets scared to death. They want to be loved. They want to be protected. They want to know that you care. And can you do anything in real time? Oh, that's right. You don't have term limits. So there's no emphasis on time. I said, if I drop a play, I'm judged on 2 things now, W and L. If I drop enough plays and we execute it, I get my contract renewed. If we don't execute it and we lose, I get fired. And I'm like, none of you guys can get fired. There's like nothing that says to me that you're in a hurry to get something fixed, except it seems politicized. It's an election year. It's been, made very emotional. And I've been called back 7 times to these calls. But this is how I feel. I want my brothers and sisters to have better titles, better jobs, better standard of living. I am for the black community. Okay, I've given my life to the black community, and I want them to have equality and opportunity. And there's nothing that I would even change. There's no comma. It's a period and an exclamation point. But we have to work together. And, again, I'm for peaceful protest. I'm for saying what you need. I'm not a mind reader. Tell me what you want. And then let's figure out how to get there. But, the whole looting thing, that's just not my thing. Sorry.
I don't think it's anybody's thing. And you are bridging another gap in our communities with the young people and our police. Tell us a little bit about what you're doing with, and I know I've seen you, build these basketball courts in the parks of some of the local communities to build. Why is that so important today?
Well, all I'm going to start by saying is God is good. I had a rough childhood. I had an angry childhood. I got tired of beating people up who made fun of me, to be quite honest and transparent. And it really was Ali who says, you have to stop. you can't hit everybody that doesn't agree with you. And I was like, you hit people. He goes, I get paid to hit people. I was like, okay. So he made a great point. And he said, Nancy, you have to be the voice of change. And, I'm not trying to make fun of myself, but I was young, and, when you're 18, 19 back then, you don't have the internet, you're not as savvy about world issues. And I can remember him saying, God made you special and he made you different. And I'm like, God too? That is amazing. Everybody. And he was like, oh no, this girl needs me. And I was like, you got a number? I mean, so he would just laugh at me all the time, but he loved me. And he always taught me to lead with love and kindness. So that a professional court is, 50 by 94. A high school court is 50 by 84. And when I started my charity at first, I can remember, Scott, I don't even think you know this, but when I came here in 1980 and I was drafted by the Dallas Diamonds, I started making some money. And I was paid $100,000 by the Dallas Diamonds. And it was Julius Erving that kind of guided me through, I negotiated my own contract. And people would start giving me, $500, $300, whatever to come speak or do an appearance. I would go into South Dallas. I lived in Oak Cliff. And I had a black bag. And in that black bag, I had like $20,000 cash. And I would go into the southern sector. Some people would call it the hood. And I would knock on people's doors and say, can I help you with food? Can I help you with your bill? Can I help you, with shoes or clothing? And some lady looked at me one day, a black woman, she put her hand on her hip and she goes, you're going to get jacked. And I said, well, I might get jacked and I won't come back. So the choice is yours. Either you're going to protect me, the streets are going to protect me and care about me, because I don't have to do this. Strangers helped send me to the Olympics. They put money in a can to change my life at 15 years old. I'm just like doing what I know. I'm not very smart. I'm not very sophisticated. But you can have the bag of money. But if you beat me up, two of us are going to get in a fight. Two of us are going to get hurt, because I'm not going to just let anybody come after me. I'm going to fight to my death. And she looked at me. She goes, girl, you are crazy. I said, if you protect me, I'll be back. And that was the beginning of my relationship in South Dallas, and just caring and kindness and love and respect. And so the DreamCourts, initially it was a safe haven. And I'm sorry I got on a little rant here, but it felt safe for me. And I was respected because it was only about street cred. They didn't care who you were as long as you could help win. So I decided, the name DreamCourt came from, it was my dream to be on a court because you could no longer profile me or make fun of me. And then it evolved. This is where God's hands are all over everything that we're doing. So we had built 30 courts. We had just finished doing Derek Jeter's court in Kalamazoo and Martina Navratilova's court in Miami. And the shooting happened here in 2016, I believe it was, in July 7th. Yep. And I was at Summer League. I was coaching with the Kings. I'm watching it on TV, and I'm bawling. I can't even go to a coach's meeting. So a couple weeks later, a friend of mine who's a lieutenant, Tina, she says, Chief Brown would like to meet with you. I know that meeting was hard, just sitting like we are in a room, and you could see he was just devastated. And he said, look, I need an initiative. I need your DreamCourts. And I was stunned. I was like, you know about my DreamCourts? He goes, Nancy, you can go to South Dallas and people will love you, high five you, and embrace you. Our guys and gals go over there and it's not so much. And I said, yes. And I said, whatever you need. So we started with 2 DreamCourts. And then since then, we have over 25 in the Metroplex, and we started adding stuff. So we have STEM on every court. We have government hoops on every court. It's education. So we want to take young kids and educate them on what they can be, because so many times, if I had stayed in Far Rockaway, I would not have been open-minded to the world of, like Leadership America. I would just be in my own little community and get mixed information from people who really did not know. So then we started putting this programming and giving programming to the courts. So then we partnered with the United States Tennis Association, Angel, because it's so easy for people, here we go, implied bias. Well, you're black, you should play football or basketball. Mm-hmm. Oh, a little white girl, come here. You play tennis or golf. Mm-hmm. That's a bunch of, bullshit. That's wrong. You can bleep that out. But it's wrong to do that. Don't tell that little African-American kid he can't play tennis or golf. Yes, he can. Let him decide or her decide what they want to do. So we partnered with them because we have over 4 million kids we just opened up our 90th DreamCourt. We're working on Ice Cube's court. Like he and I, can you believe Ice Cube's my boss? It's crazy. He's an amazing man. So we'll talk today because we're opening a court right outside Compton. Big Baby Davis's court, more courts in Dallas. We're thankful to people like Toyota who just opened up the Andre Emmett court for my friend who was murdered in October. We're not afraid. I'm not afraid to go into the black community. Actually, I would like to get, in a perfect time without COVID, a high five, a hug, and I'd like for you to just look me in the eye and see where I am on these issues.
Well, let me interrupt you for a sec because you've asked me on several occasions to MC these events when you open up a new court. The police chief comes, members, men and women, black and white, wearing the blue every day, protecting us all, and yet there are other people from the community, great leaders in the community that come out. Educational people. This isn't just a place for kids to go play basketball. As you said, STEM's involved. It's really above and beyond. And the first time I went, whoa, Nancy, what have you created here? This is just not a little basketball court. Let's play a little hoops, guys. It really is something, and it just brings the whole community together. I have to tell you publicly, it's very impressive, and that's why I continue to come back every time you ask because it was above and beyond. So thanks for all you continue. 90 courts, I can't believe that.
Without COVID, we would have been opening in September our 100th court, but it's okay. But I do want to say this to people: whether you're a stakeholder, you don't have to. Look, I'm a Yankee fan, right? I've been here 40 years, but I'm tried and true. I love my home team that I live in Dallas. I love my teams here. But if you really put my finger to the test, I'm a New York Yankees fan.
I wore number 7 when I was in Little League. Mickey Mantle.
Mickey and Bobby Mercer and all my guys. And so I'm really loyal. And, you don't have to test me on my loyalty. I know clearly what it's about. But, if there were, stakeholders in the different communities, community organizers, call me. I will come out there. I'm not afraid to sit down and ask, how can I help you? What can we do together? Don't judge me and I won't judge you, but let's see if we can do some things together for your children. Let's make it a better place. But also, again, I know that there's a lot of words being used, action words, like, white privilege. And look, do I have privilege? Yes, I have privilege. So does LeBron James. And so did my one of my besties, Kobe Bryant, and Michael Jordan, and Jay-Z, and Beyonce. If you like I said before, if you're successful, you're going to have privilege, but let's bring other people into that privilege. And let's not, tell somebody who is applying for a job for the 17th time, no, you're just not good enough. Find out if they're good enough. Hire somebody of color. Women of color, women still make 80 cents on the dollar to men in society. Women of color make on a sliding scale between 57 and 68 cents on the dollar. It's not fair. It's not. And we have to teach these, young people. The most powerful word is no. No, I'm not smoking that. No, I'm not drinking. I'm not getting in that car. No, I'm not sleeping with you. But you have to feel so good about yourself. And you have to just have this enormous love. And I'll say this again about Muhammad Ali, because I just love him so much. I decided long ago never to walk in anyone's shadow. If I fail, if I succeed, at least I'll live as I believe. No matter what they take from me, they can't take away my dignity, because the greatest love of all is inside of me. When I was so full of hooey at 16, 17, 18, hiding behind who Nancy Lieberman was, I didn't love me. I didn't love me because I didn't get the ingredients I needed to be a great leader. People followed me because I was a great basketball player, but I was fraudulent. When I came here, and Scott, when you met me, and Nancy Lieberman, I'm like, I'd go home and I'd cry because I wasn't who, people were paying me to be. And now and I thought basketball, was the greatest thing because, patting on the back and, the fandom, and you mistake fandom for love, real, true love. And if you could just take a step back and not be angry and not be emotional and say, okay, like I'm a game planner, right? I mean, every time I coach a team or I'm part of a team, we have a game plan, we practice it, we have repetition. This is how we're going to be successful. Whether it's financial literacy, whether it's, applying for jobs. We've sent 70 high school seniors to college since 2013. They have my cell number. They have my email. They have to stay in touch with me each semester. We pair them up with a first responder. It could be at UCLA. It could be at Auburn. It could be at Vanderbilt. It could be at A&M. So it could be a police officer, it could be a firefighter, it could be a government worker, and they, for 4 hours, that's marginal. It could be 3 hours. But each semester, they've got to meet with the person that they're going to shadow for that period of time. Some people have never been into a forensics lab. They've never been to, what is it, EMS, truck. They've never been in the courthouse, or they haven't been to the mayor's office. So we want to just show them, open their minds, and then that person becomes their mentor. So if I may, and I haven't shut up since you allowed me on your show, Angel, with Scott, we want to do virtual DreamCourts. And this kind of happened all through the pandemic. So let's say, if we're really who we say we are, right? Let's say Oak Cliff. We get with your community leader. You go to whatever, Nancy Lieberman Charities virtual DreamCourts. You go, it's almost like building a Tesla. So you could put your community heritage on the court that I wouldn't even know about that cultural heritage. Instead of me saying, okay, your court's going to be blue, we're going to do this. No, tell me what you want on the court. Budgetary restrictions. I'll put a little, little star down. So then we get it, we take it, and the community kids have built this court, so they have designed, right? They're sharing their cultural history. Then they have given it to us. Now we're networking. Then we can have the court laid out. The community can approve it. And then we build a court that the community, it's their vision of who they want to be. And we give these courts away. And then we bring in like a Microsoft, and we let kids for free get 90-minute, Microsoft lessons on, just all that, AI, artificial intelligence, and how to work technology. And then you know what? You know what the biggest, best job in sports is? It's the people it's the analytical people. Mm-hmm. So I can pick up a phone and call the NFL. I can pick up the phone and call hockey. If I don't know somebody, I'll get Major League Baseball. And then we can intern these young people, and we can network them to different sports teams, or even, to a company like yours, or Leadership America. And now we're teaching them a trade. That's how I think. I wouldn't have thought like that 30 years ago. But, man, I wake up happy. I wake up inspired, and I wake up thinking how to help other people, and I am not a good human being.
Well, I love it. I know what you do, and I hope everybody that's watching today is also aware of all that you continue to do. I'm sure they're just blown away, as I'm sure Angel's hearing some things today that she never knew. She was on the Board of Education, or on the committee, or the chair of whatever, back in Allen umpteen years ago. I'm sure you've learned lots today, have you not, Angel, that you didn't even know existed from this woman? It's above and beyond. Hey, look, we're heading down the home stretch. Have you got a question, or one or two questions that you have not asked that you want to jump in there and ask Nancy?
I could listen to Nancy all day. I mean, you are just so authentic. Love your transparency. I love your self-awareness. Just so refreshing. So refreshing. And so I appreciate that. I know that.
Ditto on that, Angel. Ditto.
I mean, gosh, and I know our viewers are going to just love this interview as well. So much rich dialogue here. You started your career, I guess, in basketball, or you found your calling where you started playing basketball, I read somewhere, as a sophomore in high school. And at what point did you know it was actually your calling? You knew you couldn't do anything else? Because there are so many people out there that have a calling, especially the young people, who just don't feel like they can step onto that path. They don't have the confidence. They don't have the boundaries, as you referred to. What advice do you have for people who know they have a calling to do something, but maybe don't have the support or whatever to keep going? How do you encourage them?
Well, I think I'm a little different. I have friends that are like very deep thinkers. I'm not, saying I'm not a deep thinker, but I don't think like that, actually. I never have. Like, I have people who can't make a decision because they're still thinking about the decision they want to make. And and then they have these mind monsters. Should I do it? Should I not? How does my hair look? Will he like me? He didn't call me. It was 3 hours. Oh my gosh, I don't have mind monsters. So I didn't sit and think as a young person, oh my gosh, this is going to change my life. And if it changes my life, then I'll get out of the hood. And if I get out of the hood, I can get to the limit. I don't think like that. I just do things that move me. Sports was healthy. I love the New York Knicks. It made me happy to watch them on TV. My first sport was tackle football until, I was 8 years old, and I was running a kickback, and a kid put his helmet in my gut, and I couldn't breathe for 2 minutes. And I thought, okay, let me try baseball. And because they were getting bigger and stronger. So then I started playing baseball, and I played PAL baseball, and I was one of the best players on our team. And when I was 9 years old, I was playing my first PAL game with a T-shirt in a little, baby stadium. And I was so excited. And an hour before the game, Smitty, the coach of the team, said, you cannot play. And I said, why? He said, they won't insure you because you're a girl. So it was the first time I had ever experienced, that, kind of sexism or not being included. Because I'm going to play with the same guys in an hour after your game, but now you're telling me I can't. It was horrible, actually. So I went into a local YMCA in my community, and I knocked on the little glass, and I went, hey, can I play on the boys' team here if you have a league? And the guy goes, yep. I go, seriously? You'll insure me? He goes, yep. I go, hey, my name's Nancy, and I would like to play. And that's how I started playing basketball. It made me feel good. There was a lot of stuff going on in my house. I got tired of seeing milk bottles fly, past my father's head and break a window and go out. And I needed something to distract me from the chaos of my parents getting divorced. And sports made me happy. It was almost like saying you love me when you said, okay, I'll take her on my team. And it was tricky. But I don't overthink anything. I just... if I come to a road and, I've said this to my son TJ a long time ago, and TJ's now 26. If something makes you pause, you're not supposed to go that way. If your friend says to you, hey, we're going to McDonald's and we're going to go, get some sandwiches and fries, and you go, cool. Hey, We're going to smoke weed. We're going to get in the car, and we'll have something to drink, and we'll go to McDonald's. If that makes you pause, get the hell out of the car. Don't go in the car. And that's how I've lived my life with people, and I am blessed to have a good sense of people. You know, at 62 years old, we've seen enough good people, enough people who are full of baloney, who, you know, kiss your behind because of who they think you are. And sports just was the savior of my life. And it just put me around so many amazing people. And it made me happy. And I didn't have a game plan. And the game plan came to me by letting me play, by letting me try out for a U.S. team, by neighbors putting, you know, $300 in a can of corn so I could fly to Albuquerque, New Mexico in 1974 and try out for the U.S. team. In 75, I make the U.S. team, and I'm a junior in high school. And everybody was like, you can't do it. These are like women. I said, yeah. But I just followed my heart, and I didn't let your negativity, just because you can't make the Olympic team at 15, that's your problem. That's not my problem. Somebody's going to be one of those 12 people, and it's going to be me, because I'm going to work really, really hard. I just went back to my New York, this is how I talked. But that's how I felt. I'm like, I'm so tired of people telling me you can't do that. That's why you don't have a job. That's why, you know, you're a bad human being, because you're so negative around other people, and kids are hearing you. But I needed people who were inspiring. I mean, not that I don't care about people, but at that age, that's when you take care of me, and when you get older, I'll take care of you. Life will change, and you know, I'm just so glad people were so kind and generous and loving, and you know, it just showed me blind faith. And I have God. I have God every day, and that's just how it is. And I respect anybody. If you want to kneel, you kneel. I'm cool with that. There is no judgment, because I know there's a lot going on. If I stand because I'm probably not going to kneel for anybody but God. And I'm an Olympian, and I have been taught, cultured to stand with my hand over my heart. Please don't judge me. Just love me. Just love me, because you know I care. I don't have to prove that I care. But don't judge me. You know, just understand me in that moment. And I want to know more. You know, like I said, even the joke is, you know, I'm the blackest white girl you know. But there's so much I don't know, actually. And I've always thought that the black community and Jewish people should be thicker than thieves because of the atrocities of slavery and the Holocaust. You know, I lost my great-great-grandparents. One died burnt alive in an oven, and one died in a gas chamber. That's pretty tough stuff to deal with. You know, 6,700 African Americans were hung in nooses. It has to stop. The hate, the bigotry, the hatred, the racism, it has to stop.
If you could change all the things that you've shared with us today, and you got to call the shots, and you didn't have to sit in some of those crazy meetings that you alluded to earlier, what would you do? What are the things that would come to mind? Maybe 3 things or whatever. What is it as we wrap it up?
Well, for me, I would be open to bringing people in that could educate me on what the real needs are. It's far be it from me as a white person to really know what somebody in the black community truly needs. I could say it's this, and then it's actually that. So, you know, that 360 communication is really important. And part of communication is listening. And so I would listen first to see what the needs are. Certainly, I would try to take as much of the bipartisan politics out of this, because, you know, all the people that are living behind in gated communities, come on, give me a break. I mean, it's just, it's money, it's power. I mean, don't play on the black community. Black community is smart as heck and successful. And we've just had a 2-term African-American president. And we're having more women of color in politics. But please, this is what I said one day to Steven Jackson and texted him. I said, we do analytics in our sport all the time. Let's do analytics on candidates. Let's go back 40 years. Let's line up the candidates. They could be Democrats, they could be Republicans, they could be libertarians. Let's see who their names are, and let's see what they ran on. And if they ran on reparations, if they ran on red line districts, if they ran on, trying to, serve the black community where there were more jobs available and maybe get off government assistance, whatever, to changing the value of their life. So all these candidates are seeking people's votes. So they get elected. What did they do? I know what Kobe Bryant does, 17 feet, 2 inches on the left side off one dribble, 73% of the time. And now you can fact check. You got people who are sitting there lying to white people and black people and Asian people and the Hispanic and Latino community like they care. Okay, prove it to me. What bill did you write? What bill did you sign? What bill did you introduce? Prove it to me. Because look, I'm a straight New Yorker. Prove it to me. Show me what you did. And if you did, I'll just say, hey, please accept my apology. That is amazing who you've been to these different groups of people and whatever their interests might be. But we're not idiots. We're not idiots. We're paying your salaries, and all you're doing is getting rich. You have no term limits. You can't even let young people get in because we want to know what young people are brilliant. But we can't even have their brilliance because they can't get those opportunities politically. And so don't get me started. You did. You got me started. Okay? So, I mean, obviously, I have a lot to say.
Only a 10-hour show, so go easy.
And I need to go, shoot hoops or something or watch an NBA game. But I think we have to make change. But we have to, I want my son's generation, millennials, I want them to respect us because, the concentric circle of who we are has been, whatever. It's like I'm a basketball player. The next rung is, I'm a good teammate. I'm a mom. I'm a broadcaster. I'm a philanthropist. I'm a business entrepreneur. Whatever it is, but when, COVID hits, I'm a basketball player. I'm a competitor. I want to do better than you. That's how I'm built. Go ask Michael Jordan if he wants to be better than you. I subscribe to a lot of who Michael was. He wanted to be great. Magic wanted to be great. I asked Kobe once, I said, hey, are you for equality? And he goes, yeah. I said, okay, so equality. So, I was joking. I go, did you make $80, $90 million last year? And he goes, oh boy, where are you going with this? I go, I think we should divvy up your salary 1/15 for every player on the Lakers. And he went, bullshit. And I go, what? He goes, I'm out at 4 a.m, running on a hill, lifting weights, getting 1,000 shots up before we even get to practice, and some of my teammates are just coming in. He goes, not a chance in heck that I would divvy up. I said, oh, so you're like me. I work harder than people. I mean, nobody works harder than Scott Murray. I mean, you added an extra day on the year because you needed to do another charity event. It's okay to work hard and to be incentivized. We don't want to take that away from people. We want to teach people how to be great. Ali taught me how to be great, not average. I don't want to be average. I want to be great at anything. I want to be a great mom. I want to be a great friend. Like I said, I screw up every day. God plays through my mistakes. He must go, okay, I thought I got it right, but here she is. And, it's okay. I'm not perfect. But, God, Ali said the greatest religion of all is love. And that's what it is. And I'm going to lead with love and kindness for whatever time I have on this earth. And I'm going to do anything Scott Murray, Angel, says for me to do. I'm going to show up. And by the way, I had COVID-19. I don't know if I shared it with you.
How long ago?
8 weeks ago. I don't know how I got it, but I did. I gave it to my son, TJ, and I lost the man who was handing me food with gloves and a mask. And we were staying in. We weren't going anywhere. And when I say going anywhere, we were going to Tom Thumb, Albertsons. We were going to Costco, but all gloved and masked up. I don't know. But 8 days later, I was on the Peloton and in my room, and the doctor's like, "Could you stop?" I said, "I can't hear you." And I said, "Can I get another test?" He goes, "No, you have to wait like 5-6 more days." And so I had a test. And that's crazy because it hits my age group, right? Our age group. But the first day I felt horrible. I stayed in bed. I self-quarantined. And TJ was asymptomatic. Not one day has he been sick. So we were very, very blessed that both of us never really got it bad. We lost a lot of people in New York. Yeah. I lost a lot of friends.
Good for you. Good for you. Well, I'll tell you what. We could sit and listen to you literally. I kidded a minute ago about 10 hours, but we really could. You're a dear friend. You have been for decades. I came here the same time you did, and it's been great. To just watch the great success that you've had over the last 40+ years. It's awesome. So thank you. Angel, you met her in Allen, Texas. What do you think? Closing thoughts?
I was impressed then, and just even more impressed now to see how all that you're doing for the communities and for humanity. So many takeaways that I've gotten from just listening to you, and the power of that pause before you make a decision. That's huge. We could just follow that inner guidance. So I'm going to take that away to share and whoever else I can influence, because that was powerful among so many other things that you've shared with us, Nancy. So thank you so much. I look forward to seeing you in person again.
Well, be safe and take care of your son. And, it's kind of cool here working and seeing, Scott and his son work together. And, I mean, we're just sappy parents when it's all said and done. I had TJ work camp.
Yeah. He just got married Saturday.
Congratulations. That ring comes with responsibility. So yeah, I love being a mom, and I just think the world of you, Scott, and Angel. I look forward to meeting. So thank you for having me.
You're very welcome, Angel. And I always close the show too. Exactly what you just alluded to. Live your life as a go-getter, that ultimate go champion. But live your life, share your life as a go-giver. And you continue to do that as well as anybody. So a giant thank you to you.
Well, I always say have intentional greatness, and you should always chase greatness.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Hall of Famer Nancy Lieberman, Lady Magic, our special guest here. I'm Scott Murray. I'm going to turn it over to Angel to take us home and wrap it up.
Thanks, Scott. And Angel Carlton here, signing off for Leadership America. Be a champion in your life. Just be your best self. And until we see you again, stay well and visit leadershipamerica.net.